Welcome everyone to the Scale Nation podcast. My name is Manny, and I've got my co-hosts here, Carl and Zach. And just a quick reminder, Scale Nation is about scaling in real estate. Most of the time here, we're talking about how to build a income generating real estate portfolio. And if you have any, and we sometimes you can sit here and talk about with guests, or sometimes we talk about ourselves, usually just to see, how we can scale in real estate. That's what this mission is about. Today we're going to talk about my man Carl, the myth, the legend, and Carl as is. How old are you again, Carl?
I
If I
am
remember correctly,
26 years old. I turned 27 in
26
around a
years
month.
old. Yes, and he's already an entrepreneur. That makes me just jealous because when I was 26, I was still trying to get my life together.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest
Same,
with you. The
same.
last the last
So
3 years
20,
it wasn't always on track. So
yeah, it's
got to
impressive.
start
26 and
somewhere.
already an entrepreneur. Um, well, just a little quick, insight about me. I'm Manny. I am also trying to get into the entrepreneurship game. I haven't bought any real estate myself. I've actually only LP'd in a couple deals. Shame on me. Carl's already, out there building businesses. I'll let him introduce yourself. Carl, why don't you introduce yourself to the team here?
So, hello, my name is Carl, 26 years old. Well, as of, before last week, I only had, ownership in one business, but we just filed the paperwork. So, Zach and I are officially business partners. So that's a very exciting thing.
Oh, cool.
Yep. If you would have told me probably, I don't know, even 6 months ago that this is the situation and that I found myself in, I would say there's absolutely no way. I say because there were still things I needed to fix with my character before I would even think about bringing somebody on. But through those conversations and just honestly trusting each other's word to know that what we're going to do behind closed doors and when nobody's around is the right thing. And I think that's a really important thing, even with real estate, right, Zach?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You gotta trust your partners. Um, I read a book about you might want to pull this up at one point, but it's called the Partnership Charter. Real good information there. Great way to make a team work. It's basically based on trust and honesty.
Yeah, at
And
that point, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Zach? What are you into?
So I've been in real estate for 5 years now. I started buying properties in 2020 during COVID. My
That was a
first
good time to
property,
buy. That was a
yeah,
really good time
the
to
first
buy.
property I purchased was in August of 2020. It was 5 units. But I think we'll cover
First
me
property
next.
already commercial? That's insane, dude.
that's impressive. Big leaps and
Yeah,
bounds to
I
this
know. He was
already.
like,
Yeah.
screw this residential stuff. I'm gonna go straight to commercial.
Mhm.
See, I didn't know it was commercial at the time. I just saw
Yeah.
five single family homes on one lot and it went 5 units all at once. Bam. But I think our next podcast is about me. So let's do this
Yeah, yeah,
back
yeah.
to Carl.
We'll just a quick
So
introduction about
yeah,
yourself.
Yeah.
yeah. So Carl, you've been a contractor for how long?
So I've actually been a contractor. I've done various contracting things. So when people say contractor, that can mean a very whole slew of things. I particularly dealt with the construction and framing and finish work for interior and exterior of houses and businesses and things like that. I've been doing it for approximately almost 6 years now. Solely
Wow.
with actually a building and things like that. But before that, I mean. So what had happened is I was going to school for anesthesia. I found that, that really wasn't my calling. I wanted to enjoy life and money a little bit sooner. So, after, going through, the beginning parts of nurse anesthesia, I just looked back and I was like, this really isn't, what I want to do for the rest of my life. I wasn't excited about it. I mean, I was excited to help people, but, that's different than, getting out of bed and, clicking your heels on your way out the door, you know? So
I get that.
it's one of those things. And then after that, I moved to Pittsburgh, and I started doing TaskRabbit when that was really small, and that was assembling IKEA
Wow.
furniture. And that's how I actually got into my first real estate connection. Was a group of individuals that had 108 properties or 106 properties in Pittsburgh that really taught me the ropes. And actually, a lot of the people I still know today came from that initial, relationship.
Wow, that's impressive. I think that when I met you, Carl, we had a long, in-depth conversation about each other. And I think what really impressed me about you was you started this game really early. Like, I mean, you had like the contracting skills before you even became like started your own contracting businesses. Can you go in a little bit in depth about that?
So could you ask that question one more time? I got a
Yeah,
complete.
because I remember you told me like you used to do this all your life, right? Building stuff, working on things. You like currently you own a farm, right? You're over there building hands and stuff. You like to get your hands dirty.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the things that whenever I got adopted, my parents, I got adopted into a farm family. So I was
Oh, very cool.
baling hay. So that work ethic came to me really early. And my dad used to joke, he said, "Hey, if you're not helping, you're not eating, and you're gonna not be sleeping outside." So it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes it may suck. Even if I can't do it, it's still, maximum effort is, what's required. And also just throughout life, like my dad was a head airline mechanic for US Air. He has
Oh, that
three
sounds
different
cool.
kind of, welders in his garage. And I've learned how to use all those. And just through like, exposure, like I built additions with my dad. It's just things over that I've done concrete, I've done asphalt, roofing. There's really not something that I haven't done, but that's a great thing, but also not because I have a habit of once I get really good at something, I need to go find the next best thing that I can try to figure out, that's a struggle for me because I would rather be challenged because if you're not challenged, you're not going to stick to something.
Well, you chose the best game. Real estate, you're always challenged,
Oh,
especially when
yeah.
it comes to capital raising. That's the most challenging thing.
Oh,
Real estate
absolutely.
makes you grow the most out of anything I've ever found.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can grow really big, but I think like the game is never really done, right? So for example, I'm starting in small multifamily. I tried so hard to get into large multifamily, and I realized I just gotta start small. And I gotta bite the bullet, start small, start scaling, and then scale into large multifamily, right? Well, after you scale into large multifamily, you get a bunch of units under your belt, and you're like, okay, what's next? And we got people that we know going into hotels, hospitality, even senior living. So you can go into that, and that's a whole nother field you don't even understand, right? So I think real estate is that thing that's going to keep you driven and get you to your goals. I don't know. Before we get any further, I want you to tell everyone here what is your goal, Carl?
Are you talking about my 90-day goal
No,
or
no, no, no. The goal that you have at 30.
to be a millionaire by 30 and to start building
Yes.
that generational wealth for my family, future
Yes.
family.
I love that goal. I wish I had that mindset when I was your age, man, because I knew I wanted money. I just didn't know how to get it, right? So I'm
Yeah.
over there doing the classic routine. Go to school, get a good job, get the promotion at that job, and then you'll get that million sooner or later. And it's true, I'd get the million when I was like maybe 60 something, and then don't got anything under
Yep.
me and
Yep.
retire
The
and
difference between earning a million and being worth a million,
exactly.
because
And
over
that's
the rest of your life, you do earn $1 million. It just doesn't stay with you.
Right.
Yeah. That is, and it also loses value too over the course. Your $1 million you made probably is only worth, by the time you're, ready for your casket, probably only $800,000. It's
Oh,
crazy how that works.
don't tell me. Don't remind me of that. I wish inflation was just non-existent.
I think we all do. Did I bought chickens because it was cheaper to get eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing once. I had a bunch of chickens. And
So let me tell you about the first job that I ever had as a contractor.
Okay.
So, when I was living in Pittsburgh, it was right after I finished with the TaskRabbit, and I decided that I knew enough that I wanted to go off on my own and make some money and find my own way, not live under somebody's coattails. Well, the first job, it was a lady where I went in, I put a floor in for her, replaced her ceiling, and I'll tell you right now that I probably sanded for 6 to 7 hours on that ceiling after the first coat. Because the first
Wow.
mistake I used blue lid, and the second mistake was not buying an automatic drywall sander. I was like this, dude. I actually have a picture of it, of how I looked. I was completely white. I was blowing white, like nostrils, white, everything. But that went pretty well. And then she asked me, she goes, "Do you know how to do anything else?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, but I'm willing to teach myself along the way. So it may take a little bit longer, but it will be done right. And that's the biggest thing I can say with through the first job that I took away is, sometimes you have to, if you have a deadline, sometimes you just have to take that extra, 30 minutes or an hour because, that thing that that person sees, if there's a problem with it, that's going to be the first thing that they look at. So it's just proper preparation, prevents poor performance. And that's something that I try to live through with the contracting business as well.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Well,
Uh,
Zach, you have a little bit of contracting experience. I'm a scrub here. I don't know anything. I don't
a
even know what blue
little
bid
bit,
is. What
little
is
bit.
that? Can you
I
explain that
also
to me?
own. So yeah, well, he said earlier, we're business partners now because he bought into Small Town Home Services, my construction company, and I've been running that since 2022. Um, so he bought into that with us, and now we're moving it to the Pittsburgh area. Um, oh, there he goes to his pizza.
It's important. You gotta make sure you get
Um,
it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've been there where he was saying that he's covered in white drywall dusts and you take your time to learn something new because it needs to get done right. And that's a very good good ethic to have, in anything. Um,
I have a question, Zach.
yeah.
Do you think that to be successful in real estate, you need to be able to do the contracting work? Or do
No.
you think that it's a good to have, but you can be knowledgeable in it, but you don't need to have to do it yourself?
Right. So you don't need to do it yourself. You don't even need to know all the ins and outs of it. I would think you need to find yourself a trusted contractor or trusted
Hmm.
vendor that'll do that stuff for you. Especially if you're gonna do some burrs, especially if you're gonna do some heavy rehabs on multifamilies, you need to find that contractor, that uh, person that's gonna come in here and do the stuff for you, and someone you can trust, right?
I get that.
So you never be afraid to go in and say, hey, this doesn't look right, or why did you do it this way? Because if they're going to be a good person about it too, they will explain to you, this is how it's done, this is how I do it, this is no problem, I'll fix that. Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of knew right off the bat when I talking to Carl, some of the things he said that okay, I'm going to bring Carl on to the Grace Valley project to rehab it. And yeah, from there it just we've punched out a bunch of units. We've run through the property, got it all cleaned up. I think we're working on unit right now. Units 11 and 12 are the ones we're working on. That I think that's it's got to be like 10 or 11 units that we've got down so far, and we're only like 3 months in.
Wow.
We're not even 3 months in.
I have another question for you on that note. How do you usually plan a contracting like job when you purchase a property? Do you usually plan, oh, it will be this is like a 3 month job, 6 months job, 12 months job, Or are you trying to plan as little time as possible to get those units rented out and flipped quickly?
So the way I did it for Grace Valley was essentially I walked all the units, I did inspections on every unit, and I labeled them A, B, C, and D. A units are just units that need to be cleaned and can be rented out. B units are the ones that need a little bit patch and paint. C would need, patch, paint, floor, and D would need a full rehab.
Oof.
So, um, and I based the timeline based on that. So, I didn't need Carl and his guys to go in to many A units, maybe, here or there is to do a little bit of cleanup. But other than that, we had the cleaner to come in and do that. And then, he's in there patching paint and laying some floors and doing windows. I mean, the windows on this place is, original to the 1950s. So
Wow.
they're all single pane, crank out, they're all busted up apart. So they all need to be replaced. Um, so yeah, I mean, I did a timeline based on how many units I had vacant at the time and how many units are in the property. So I'm hoping for a 3 month turn on the vacant units. And like I said, we're almost at 3 months. 3 months will be December, so we have a month left.
Mhm.
Um, maybe we'll hit it, maybe we won't. By the way, you know, just pushing the team to get some work done. Um, we've done a really good job as it is, and the partners are happy that they believe that we're ahead of schedule. So
Oh, that's good. I had a question, and this is more towards you, Carl. Zach brought up a point that the windows were 1950s. Does that usually affect, because I usually hear like the old construction can also affect like energy usage as well as like water usage. For example, let's say you have an old toilet that they don't have those water preserving features that they have now. But for the windows, do you really need to change the windows, or can you keep them the same? Because I'm thinking like cold when it gets cold, hot air leaving or escaping the building, causing you to use the heater more often and raising the
Yeah,
bill for that.
and that's one of the things too, whenever, Zach and I, we walked through like the first time, the big thing that he voiced, I had said to him was lipstick on a pig because, the first turn, everything's not going to be pretty. I said, but the windows themselves, they didn't look the best, but just keep in mind, those things were not spray foamed in or sealed. All it was just metal, single pane of glass. And with those high efficiency windows, also you have to worry about doors too, and weather
Oh,
stripping and sealing and all that stuff. Because the more efficient your unit is, the less total cost it will cost you per year to maintenance it. And that's
right.
the biggest thing for that return on equity is to minimize your costs, to maximize your profits, to maximize more opportunities. And that's one thing that I've looked at as well.
Hmm. Another question on that then regarding the lipstick on a pig. How do
Hmm.
you prioritize the units? Zach was just talking about how you sorted it by A, B, C, D, right? So priority is key in that situation, right?
Hmm.
So do you think, oh, I should do all the A units first so I can get people in there? Or do you think, let me crack these D units, leave the A units as it is for now, and then get these D units flipped, and then after a while go back to the A units?
So, what we do is it's always A's first because those are going to be the
Oh,
ones that require the least amount of time and care, but also the fastest to turn to increase occupancy rates so we can get closer to refinancing, which will free
interesting.
up some of that money that was originally tied into it. So we always look for the A's first, ones that are, I call them fast fillers.
That's a good name.
Because if you don't have to do anything but clean it and you can get somebody in there, think about it. If you're charging $1,000 a month for rent, that's $12,000 right there, that you're going to be getting, securing that just by getting that prepared. So D's are usually always like, for example, right now I'd say we're working on a D. There was the seal, there's no bathroom essentially. There's no
Cool.
toilet, there's no vanity, there's no ceiling in the bathroom. And the same thing because there was a leak coming in. I think
No
Zach, I think
ceiling. Could you
we
see
saw.
like the sky? Is it snow
Uh,
falling in?
no, no, no. It was like just the drywall ceiling, not the
Okay,
roof. The
okay.
roof
yeah,
was
He
still
said
there.
he said no ceiling. I'm thinking stars at night,
uh, difference between ceiling and roof there, Manny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hope Zach went back and like, hey, what happened to this one? Was there an
But
explosion?
but like we went in there. I've only actually been working in that unit for what would you say, Zach? One total day between the patching and all that.
Yeah. Yep.
We removed the carpet, removed all the fallen drywall, made it a nice cut so it's easier to install new. That place already smells and looks better, and it's not even close to being
Bro,
finished.
bro, I didn't even think about that. Okay, this is a good question for both you and Zach, because you've both been contractors and you've worked on stuff like this before. Have you ever walked into a unit and it's just rancid and you
Oh, I
guys
got stories.
you guys are
Dude,
just like,
you would not
what
believe the stuff we've seen.
happened?
Should I
I
tell him
need
the
to
ground
hear. I
meat
need to hear
story?
this.
Should I
You
tell him the
tell them your
ground?
story, I'll tell them mine. How's that?
Okay. So this is when I was working for the first people that I knew for real estate. Um and they sent me to this house. They were like, "Hey, can you go do a welfare check? We have to cut the grass. Keep in mind this is in the middle of summer, right?
Okay.
Big house right on the hill in Pittsburgh. You could see the stars, great view." I'm
Wow.
like, "Oh, okay." I mean, but when I got out of the vehicle, there was just like a weird musk in the air. Like it smelled so weird. So I'm like, nobody answered the door. He was like, well, then go in. I went in. It smelled
Okay.
so bad, right? I go into the fridge. These people, because they didn't like the landlords, and this is landlord sabotage. This is something we'll probably discuss later on in,
Okay.
this whole
Little sabotage.
podcast. But 25 pounds of ground beef and I think 15 pounds of ground chicken and then some other stuff they left in the fridge and freezer. Okay.
Did they unplug the freezer? Like what? That's I feel like that should hold on to it, right?
No, they didn't pay the power and they didn't tell us that they moved.
Oh. So Pittsburgh was just like, nah. Then
Nope.
at least it was
I gotta hear
isolated
Zach's
to the
story.
fridge. I'm thinking like brown stuff on the ceiling and then like hole in the wall, stuff on the floor you can't identify. I want to know if you guys ever seen that.
Okay, so I was called out to an apartment. At one of the apartment managers that I used to work for called me up and say, "Hey, I need you to go into this unit. I need you to gut it because I just found the tenant dead. She had been dead for 5 days, and her dogs and cats just destroyed the place. Now they didn't eat her, which
Oh
is a
man,
good
I
thing.
was
They didn't
I
eat
was I was like, bro. Woo, we're getting
But
close,
but
son.
5 days there was about six animals packed into this small apartment with her dead body for 5 days. So I went in with gloves, hazmat suit, masks, everything, and we tore out everything. We had to. Everything stunk. We even
Wow.
at that point, once it was all cleared out, it still smelled. We put kills on the floor, sealed it,
What's that?
sealed.
What's
Kills
kills?
is a antifungal primer.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a good name, I guess.
Yeah, it does its
Yeah.
job.
I was
It
like,
does
what do
its
It
you?
does its
job.
job. Yep. Yep.
Do you tell them about the did you ever have to use an ozone machine, Zach?
No, I had never used an ozone machine. It took a little bit for the smell to get out of this place. We killed some floor, um, and then about a month later, they were able to get a carpet guy back in to lay more carpet. And yeah, I wouldn't say I've ever been in there since, but that was horrid.
You
That
remember
was
the
horrid.
address that you could be like, that house is haunted? Do not go there.
I drive by it all the
Yeah. As long as you don't see someone in the window looking at you while you're driving by, it's all good,
time.
right?
I drive by one on the way to McKeesport. Remember that one I told you about with the guy who was huffing the compressed air and he passed away in his house? And then
Yeah.
there was the neighbor called and there was a bunch of flies and stuff and he like yeah. It was a they had to bring in like it was past the point of us being able to deal with it. They had to bring in somebody like the coroner or something, not the coroner, but it was people after that removed it because it was a little bit longer than 5 days. I don't know how long it
Oh,
was, but
wow.
it was past the point of like, actual
He was
recognition as a
starting to
thief.
decompose.
Yeah, and just
Okay.
melt into the floor.
Okay. I got a question on that. Would you guys buy a property that had that happen to it?
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh,
Without a doubt. Hmm.
really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
How much you discount? I was like 75% off, you know?
No,
I'm
but
gonna
that's
get
what
an
it
axe
is.
just in here. So
As long as the numbers work, right? As long as the numbers work.
Hmm.
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
so
So
go ahead.
yeah, earlier Zach was talking about partners, Carl. So I want to get into how you pick your partners for deals that you work on, right? Or how you even like choose, hey, you know what? I like Zach. I'm gonna work with him. How do you even what goes through your mind when you're doing that?
Well, in all seriousness, I had an inkling in the back of my mind whenever I met Zach and we walked through things and we were looking at the Grace Valley the first time. Because I even said it in episode one. I looked at him and I said, I was like, I'm very loyal to who I work for. I like to stick with one person. So like essentially, hopefully let's make this work, you know?
Right.
And it's not one of those things where, I search out partners. I wait for the relationship to come to me first because when you go searching for
Hmm.
things, you'll usually always end up getting burned unless it's for deals in real estate. Then usually searching is a very good thing often and early. However, you know, when I look at that, I'm just like, I just lost my whole train of thought. I just lost my
Looking for
whole
partners. Yeah, when you're looking for partners and
yeah.
you're searching.
Yeah, so when I was searching for it, like with Zach, I, didn't think about it, wasn't really, expecting anything but to, just go out there, get all of this work done at Grace Valley, and hopefully through proper, communication and proper work and work ethic and being there on time and always showing up no matter what, I could potentially land more contracts with him to fix his properties. Because I knew he wasn't
Hmm.
going to stop. I could tell by how empowered he was when he was walking around and stuff. He was
Oh, I
excited.
know he wasn't gonna stop either.
And I
That guy's a
actually,
monster.
yeah, and I took that away too. It's because it's like, I can tell, I've been around Zach enough. I can tell when Zach comes in and Zach has had a long night, when Zach hasn't had a lot of sleep, or when Zach did not sleep well. I can just
Mm.
tell because it'll always be based on, if he has his sunglasses on already and it's still
He just comes in,
morning
shoe shirt,
or
black
I'm feeling
shirt, just sitting there
sluggish.
like this, you know.
uh-huh. Yeah, I'll never forget that when we started to talk about business for the first time. We go out in the sun. He faces me towards the sun and he puts sunglasses on, and I'm like, really? I was like, I gotta switch my chair around. But to answer your question, I don't look for partners. I wait for me to be comfortable enough with that person to possibly think of that. Because you never want to
Interesting.
jump into something like partners because you're held legally responsible for things just like they are when you buy into a business. So you
No,
got to
for
make
sure.
sure that that person has the right morals, they have the right structure to their life, where they focus on, obviously spirit's a big thing, but also family and just trying to help people out because you were also in that situation at one point where you didn't really know what was going on.
No, for sure. I'm in that situation right now, right? A lot of
That's how
things
I
that I talk
felt.
to you guys about, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about, but I'll help if I can. I'm like
Yeah.
the deer in the headlights.
You should see my eyeballs whenever Zach started talking about taxes and structure and all this stuff. I was
Oh
sitting
God,
there. I
I
literally was
can't
like,
wait for
hold
that
on, wait a second.
conversation.
Like I had to look down at the ground and then look up at him. And I just told him, it's like, I'm also one of those people that if I don't know something, I'm not going to act like I do know something
Of
because then
course.
it's just makes an ass out of me and then you get to laugh at me. So
No, yeah,
why would I do that to myself? If I don't know, it's better to ask and learn than pretend that you don't know for a lifetime.
right, right. I was talking to Zach yesterday, and we are talking about how a lot of things that he's been giving to me and presented to me, I have nothing, I know no knowledge about. And I was like, look, I'll you throw me to deep end, I'll learn how to swim, basically, right?
Yeah,
So
just say that.
that's
Throw me to
I
the
think that's the kind
wolves.
of mindset you have to be able to scale in
And,
this
and that's
game.
something I say all the time too, is anybody who comes work with me, anybody who comes, wants to learn, it's like I don't need you to know everything. I just need you to want to learn.
Right.
Anybody that, I mean, even anyone I would hire as, in my business, I just need that person to want to learn. And
Hmm.
that's it.
That's the
A lot of
biggest thing.
people, and
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. A lot of people that I've met and talked to refuse to learn. They think they know everything.
A lot of people are
There's
closed-minded.
I forget the word. There's a word for it where people they're like armchair something. They know a lot about one thing that they Googled. They Googled on it and then they become armchair professor. That's what it is.
Armchair
Yeah,
professor. Yeah. Good old
yeah, yeah.
Google emperor. That's what I
Yes,
call
yes,
him.
yes, yes. And I was like, yeah, but you just Googled it. Let me like spread it out for you. And it's like, no, I just Googled. I'm an expert.
Same thing with Wikipedia.
Oh
People that
yeah,
they go
same
on
thing with
Wikipedia,
Expedia.
read the first four lines, and they say, I know all about multifamily. I know all about the home equity lines of credit. I know all about this stuff. But it's one of those things where Zach taught me that I actually don't know anything about the back end of a business. And I will fully attest to that. So whoever is going to be watching our podcast, listen to what Zach says about because we were talking about business structure for the buy-in. It's like, okay, so how does this all go? And he goes, well, this is what I do. I only pay, I show 50% or how did you say it? with paying employees and 50% and something. And I'm
What?
sitting here, I'm like, and then
I'm
he
curious
goes,
about this too.
what? And then he goes, what did he say about the business? He goes, oh yeah, I'm not paying any taxes on my business this year. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I need to be like him. I need to figure this out. I said, because that 22 and 37%, that does
Yep.
not, yeah, it's not nice.
I mean, to solve the problem with the taxes, you just need to learn the tax code. You know,
Right.
if
Give him the
you
book
know
then.
the tax code, then
Yeah.
you know, then you don't really pay any taxes. I mean, sometimes you will, but if you are doing it right, you shouldn't,
Wait,
right?
we were sitting in the airport. Zach looks at me. It's actually after our flight got delayed because of the hurricane coming through. We thought it was the hurricane, but it was ended up being some rain clouds. Worst
Oh, okay.
turbulence on a
Hurricane.
plane, hands down, that I've
Yeah,
ever
that was
experienced.
bad.
Bro,
He
you
looked at
flew? You still flew?
yeah, we
We
flew. We had
did.
to get home. We didn't have a place to stay.
Taking a train, man. Rent a car.
Oh
Well,
no,
well,
I needed him working at Grace the next day.
yeah. And he's looking at me. He's reading a book. I'm reading Gwalter's Broke to a Quarter Million. And Zach looks at me and he goes, "Hey, read this line. Keep in mind, we've been traveling since 11 o'clock, right?
Okay.
It is now what, 12 midnight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 12 midnight. He goes, read this. I read it and I'm like, I don't know what that said. He goes, yeah, try reading my big tax code book at home. Yeah. So you want to learn taxes? This guy, he reads a booklet of tax codes. I don't know how he stays
Jeez.
interested, but here we are.
Everyone loves different things, right?
He was like, I'm never paying taxes
Oh
again.
yeah.
I need to
Yep.
get that book that everyone keeps talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even with just because I bought Grace today, there's Grace this year, there's no reason why I wouldn't pay any taxes. Now, one of my partners asked for cost segregation on Grace Valley, so that he doesn't have to pay as much in taxes. Yeah, so it all depends on your tax strategy, your structuring, your planning. You, you,
Offsetting
you
those.
should you should really be planning your taxes at the beginning of the year. What are you going to do? Okay, now I have a taxable event. I sold a property. What's next? You know,
Hmm.
uh, I know a guy right now. He's selling a property and he's doing a 1031 exchange so that way he doesn't have to pay the taxes on that profit.
Wow. And you see, that's really funny because you said you have to think about it in the beginning of the year how to avoid paying taxes, while most of everyone else is thinking that I got to file my taxes so I can pay taxes or get my taxes back, right?
Yep.
It's a different mindset entirely.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was me, 8 years ago, 6 years ago.
That's me this
It
year,
was
bro.
it was,
It hurt.
oh, it's April, I gotta file taxes. And it's oh,
Yeah.
it's tax day. I gotta get this in like yesterday, right? Um, so yeah, but no, I plan my taxes throughout the year. Every quarter I have a meeting with my accountant and we
Wow.
discuss, what happened this past quarter, what do I do next? How do
Hmm.
I avoid paying as much in taxes as possible
It
legally?
kind of like get more
Taxes.
property,
Legally,
bro.
that's the first thing,
Legally.
everybody. So
Legally
we
was it
all
legally?
are really
What's
legally not paying taxes. All
what's
right.
the thing Walter says all the time?
Morally,
Ethically,
ethically,
legally.
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 Yes, morally, ethically, legally. Exactly. Exactly. It's what you don't know. And people listening to this podcast right now, I'm telling you, there's ways where you can avoid paying taxes. You just have to know how to do it, right? It's all legal. I learned that this year. I'm gonna pay my taxes next year, like the idiot I am. But I'm going to figure out ways to get around that. Maybe if I keep my W-2, I can't get around that. All my stuff would get deferred, but I'm going to think about ways to do it, you know?
Yeah, keep your
Absolutely.
W-2 and start buying real estate, and now you get all that depreciation.
Exactly, exactly. That's the idea. That's the plan.
Yep.
So, Carl, I have to ask you,
Okay.
why did you choose to get into the real estate game? Right? I mean, you were a contractor, you had business, you were an entrepreneur, you knew all this stuff, and you're like, you can probably scale that. But you chose to partner with Zach in small town and join the real estate game. Can I ask you what changed? What changed that for your mind?
So, in all seriousness, I had no inkling or no want to partner with anybody at all. And I
Hmm.
didn't want to buy real estate because I was, my business, I was making anywhere from, two to 250. That's obviously not including me paying taxes, but that was the net income for my business, which I can live off $1,000 to $2,000 a month and consider that comfortable living because I
Wait,
know my
wait. Let's
bills are
go in.
paid.
Let's go into that real quick. You live on a farm.
Uh-huh.
You're self-sufficient. You can grow your own food. You
Hmm.
can go out there and get chicken if you want it. Real chicken, real eggs, orange eggs. This guy was bragging about. He's
Oh
telling me
yeah,
his eggs were
they got the good
orange.
yolks.
I'm
Oh yeah,
like,
the extra
Orange
protein.
eggs? What is that?" So
But
yeah, not everyone is in your shoes, but because you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you can live off only $1,000 a month. Everyone, $1,000 a month.
yeah, and the thing is also, and I have been this big proponent of I don't want to owe anybody money. I don't like owing people money. That's what I've thought going into my beautiful weekend that I was invited on. That's what I thought. But
Mm-hmm.
debt can be good if it's
That's
for a good possible equity return. Obviously, not paying your credit card bills, people, if you're not paying your bills, you need to pay them. It is very important for you to live. Okay. But
if you're leveraging your credit card to get $100,000 back, I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
hey, you're above my pay grade. I
yeah,
tell you
yeah.
that right
I'm
now.
not unless you get like 30% return. I wouldn't recommend doing 24% interest. All right, just
No,
understand
nope,
that,
nope.
right?
Never pull cash from a card because you'll pay for it
Yes,
more than what you got
yes,
in your pocket. This is true.
yeah.
Um,
On that, what you mentioned, that can be good, and I didn't learn about this until it was too late, past 30, and
It's
I
never
was
too,
thinking,
hey, I'm gonna stop you. I don't like
no, no,
I don't
I
like
get it.
to, it's
Never too
never
late,
too
right?
late.
Never too late.
Can't's also
It's
a
all
swear
about
word.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I was so like I said, I was in the American dream, wife, house, marriage, kids, all that stuff. And then I got to here and I realized wives are expensive. And I was like, okay, I need to, change my things. I gotta figure out ways to earn more money. So, but then I learned I was also like, I gotta get out of all of this debt. Debt is bad. I was here like pay debt off. Who's that guy that my dad recommended to me? Dave Ramsey. You want to be
Yeah,
debt, no debt at all. Pay off your debt right now. So I was like, all right, drilled in, pay off debt. I
I
threw
have problems
money
with
at
Dave Ramsey.
yeah, I threw money at debt like it was nothing. And then I got really, really dull. And guys were talking was like, oh, but you can have good debt. I was like, there's no such thing as good debt. All debt's bad. So it's good that you have that change of mindset when you did, because there's a lot of people out there who just say, hey man, being in debt is scary. They can come after your house, they come after your family, they come after your car, and it's really hard to change that mindset. When especially you've been growing for such a long time.
Here, here's the thing I want to tell you. Okay.
Okay.
People talk about debt and stuff. How many times do you think Donald Trump has filed for bankruptcy? Chapter 11.
Oh, I I know he's done it once, right? At
Six
least once.
times.
Six?
Six times he's filed a chapter 11 bankruptcy stuff. Yes, six times.
It's
So if you think
hilarious.
that's not bad and you see the president doing this kind of stuff and he is one of the best businessmen known to man that they say, same thing with Elon Musk.
Six
There's got to
times?
be
Welcome back, Mr.
that
President.
yeah, yeah.
It's only been 3 months, but you're back here again.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like people say, "Oh, you owe this." There is bad debt, there is good debt. Having debt on a property that is giving you that positive equity return with no back end, spanking, it's
Mhm.
beautiful. You get to, all your wages, you get to write those off on taxes if you buy properly. You look at this, debt can make your life simpler because the bank knows that that money's going to come from the actual property before you if it comes to collect. So it's also
Right,
insurance on what you're doing. You should
right.
never buy a deal if you think you can't afford it or anything like that. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the bank's that idiot, right? Everyone, the banks always win, right? And no one, banks never lose. So
Uh,
the banks see, especially with there's people out there taking short term. What's it called? No, not short term. It's called small business loans, right?
yeah, ten
The
thousand
bank,
dollars small business loans.
yeah, small business loans. The bank's thinking, hey, you're going to start a small business. We believe that your business is going to be successful. Here's a loan for that. And if you can't pay it back, then the bank, takes your house. But real
For a
estate,
small business loan.
yeah, for a small business loan, yeah. So real estate is that luxury where you could leverage that real estate, and they said this is not actually a liability because it's generating income, and the bank sees that it's generating income, and it's like that we can use to our advantage here.
As you say that, I want to, because we were talking about loans, and you never want to risk your primary residence for something.
Really,
That,
at
that
all.
that's what I've learned through meetings, and that's what I've heard. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but it's imprinted in my brain that you never want to, unless you're getting a home equity line of credit where you already have a good job, which you know that you can cover that if push comes to shove.
What do
And
you think,
that's how
Zach?
I've thought, but I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think, Zach? Would
I, I
would you ever
think
bet
I
your
think if
primary?
you have a primary, if you can pay the bill on it, because the bank's not going to lend to you if you can't afford to pay it, right?
Mhm.
I worked in the mortgage industry for 4 years. Uh, you go through all these qualifications. You have to make sure your debt to income's good. You have to make sure the house is valued correctly and right. So then they finally give you, the loan. Plus, they're only going to give you a certain, loan to value based on their criteria. So they're protecting themselves. So
Mhm.
if they can't, if they know you can't pay the loan back, they're not going to give it to you, right?
Interesting.
Um, so pulling a line of credit off your primary residence, I think is an okay thing to do if you want to start real estate because I mean, as long as you want to put the money in to the real estate deal to close and you have a plan to get it back out.
Right.
Okay. So tell you what, for example, I did one single family burr, right? And what I did was I actually leveraged a line of credit off some of my other real estate. And I went in and I bought a house for $28,000. I then spent another $10,000. I renovated it, and I went to the bank. I said, "Okay, it's done. It's finished. It's rented. Now I want to refinance the property and take my money back out." So we went through the process, got a loan on it, appraised for $75,000. I got a loan for $56,000, and I paid that back to my line.
Nice.
And I actually took a profit on that, profit about 20 grand.
Hey, even
That's
all the way down to the dollar, a profit is a
Yep,
profit because you must have
absolutely.
done something right. It's not going to
Absolutely.
be a home run every time.
And now it is rented and it is giving me cash flow every month.
cash flow, including paying off the mortgage that you have on it because you
Correct.
refinance it.
It's like
Yep.
So
double.
yeah, so people have to understand that not only this is his deal, he made $20,000. The deal's still paying off the mortgage and giving him something on top. That's insane.
Yeah. Yep. And don't forget too, you have the depreciation on taxes and you have the appreciation in the market.
Oh
So
yes,
when I go to
exactly.
sell a house in a few more years, it's going to be worth more than $75,000.
That's the
Hey,
game. That's the
hey,
game I'm
I'm
trying to
telling you
get
right
into.
now, if I could give Zach every cent I've earned up till now, just for his knowledge 3 years earlier, all of it, I'd do it.
If I
I'd
could
do
be
it.
a fly on the
I'd
wall in
do it.
2020 with Zach, and he's like, "Yo, let's buy this." I'm like, "All right, let's do it,"
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Hey,
there
in
you go.
2020, you might not have been doing that.
Yeah,
Let's
but
just
yes,
think
it's a
about it.
mindset. It's the mindset that I keep telling you. You gotta
Absolutely.
change that, flip that
Absolutely.
mindset because if you don't got that mindset, you're not gonna do
We're here to
anything.
build an empire brick by brick. We're not just throwing rocks at a well and hoping our wish comes true.
All right, guys.
Exactly.
So we have about 5 minutes left today. I got to drop something real quick for you guys.
Okay.
Um, as you guys know, we recently got under contract a 6 unit multifamily property for a
Right.
total of $60,000, 10,000 a unit.
That's
All right.
awesome.
So what we're going to do next is proceed forward with closing, and then we renovate it. We're expecting about 35,000 in renovation costs per unit, and then we'll have a cash flowing property valued at $450,000 when we're done.
Awesome.
Oh, I'll
So when
be
to
in
run the
that,
numbers with
John,
that.
working.
So when to run the numbers and understand how we're gonna do the payment structure and all that, see how I
Yep,
can
yep.
provide some help. I talked to my wife about it. She's like, Manny, what can we bring? How can we help? And I was like, Zach's got it. Just trust him,
Yep,
He'll let
yep,
us know.
absolutely. I have reached out to the lender and he'll get back to me on Monday, but I've asked him for 100% purchase and 100% rehab costs. So we come to the table with maybe
I'm
$4,000.
I'm gonna need that crew a lot sooner than
I
than
told you the
expected.
other
Yep.
day. I told you the other day, start building that second crew.
So,
I have the one guy, I have three other people for the second guy. So I already have that handled, no outsourcing, people that I already know. So we'll be good there. I would like to, yeah, we'll talk about that, another time.
yeah,
Yep,
you guys can talk about that.
absolutely. But I want to
So,
drop that here. It's because we'll all go in on this, and in about a month, you'll each own your own 6 unit property.
ooh,
Oh, I'm
I
loving
can
this.
tell that I own property. Man, I'm so excited. They like the burn
Stop.
in me. I want to go there, take a photo in front of it like this, and
No, it's the old leg cross with the
yeah, get a chair. And it's like, what's this guy doing? And just get a chair, fold out chair, and like, yeah.
Oh, I'm
Take a
telling
bunch
you.
of photos.
It it
Yeah,
is it
man.
is kind of exciting to see how excited you guys are on this one because I get on the contract and I'm like, okay, good, next one.
You
But
had this
hey, hey,
excitement too.
hey,
So there's excitement, and then there's fear. Tons of fear. But the excitement overshadows the fear.
we'll get into the fear, I promise.
Oh my God.
Oh, I promise.
Oh
There
geez.
are so many quads all the way up to 12 plexes that I wanted to buy where I'm looking at them like I'm happy I didn't because I didn't know anything that I do now. It was one of those things where buy more doors, get more money passive. That's what I thought in my head
Right,
until going to the summit and
right.
speaking to Zach every single day for 3 months.
I've
Yeah.
only had like a handful of conversations with Zach, and I can see that this guy has tons of knowledge. So I'm
So
sitting there trying to soak up as much as I can, like a
ask
sponge.
Zach. I overshare all the time.
Yes.
I do. And do you notice that it's getting shorter? Where it's like, hey, I'm starting to recognize, it's probably not. It's probably getting longer.
I don't know. I
still
haven't
still
noticed.
overshakes and stuff. Yeah. Remember you told me something, you're
I
like, does
just,
Zach know he's telling me this? And let me just make sure I'm not gonna say anything.
yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like I am a very transparent person. One of the biggest things in business that I can offer with my introduction is you have to have just the knowledge that that individual is not going to leave you in the dust.
That's
That's
good.
the biggest thing that I can pull away from this. You don't jump at a business partner that says they've got money. You've got to see how they act. You've got to see what they know. Because if you see how they act and see what they know, there's a chance that they've taken it for somebody else and they're looking for another victim. You have to
I get
protect
it.
yourself first. And I did
Yeah, that
that. And it's it's simple if you just have those precautions.
that transparency makes you a really good partner, I think, because they can see, okay, this guy, he can't even keep his mouth shut about to other people. There's no way he's gonna screw me
But
over, right?
it's not a transparency that is told this is how you need to communicate. It is something that you acquire through years of interacting with people with a lot more money than you. Like and I'll say that it's like the whole thing with the four corners. And I send Zach probably a 3 paragraph essay update with 2 videos with uploading pictures throughout the day on work photos every single day without batting an eye without it adding anything to my mental. Transparency is key. If he can see and hear and look at what we're doing, then it'll
Right?
be a successful thing. But if
Absolutely.
he can't, when people start to wonder, doubts start to come in. You need to avoid that. You need to nip that in the butt before it starts. You got to
Yeah.
start strong, finish strong, and move on to the next.
And I'm sure Zach's the type of guy, because he told me when he was working for another guy, he cuts through the bullshit. He's like, look,
Hmm.
I need this flex, and you're not getting it. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna let you go, right? And
Hmm.
he's like, oh no, but come on, man. He's like, no, no, no. I gave you it. I literally trusted you. You can't do it. I need
Hey,
someone else.
what'd you
This
say?
guy
Is
can
that
do it for me.
hire slow, fire fast?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Biggest thing I can
Yeah.
offer to new business owners too. Hire slow. You bring the people on that you can predict what they're going to do, not in just the work setting, but those are your employees. You got to predict what they're going to do in a setting when you're not around and when they may be under influence of alcohol or something like that. You got to hire the people that I hate to have to say it, but it's true. You have to know how they're going to act because what they do is a brand of what you provide. So you don't
Exactly.
bring people around that are gonna harm like my last name was my contracting.
Wow.
So
That's a
that's
lot
my
of
family name. I can't run away from that. I
yeah.
had a business beforehand in LLC that was something different when I learned the ropes. We're not going to get into that, but it's got screwed a couple times but I've learned. And that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing about this podcast is we are here to teach you because a lot of people aren't going to because they are very selfish. We are here with our and your best interests in heart, showing what we've learned throughout the way. And if you have something you can bring to it, then absolutely do that, you know?
Yeah. Let us know. Let us know for sure. So we're gonna wrap up here. I know that we got everyone's got things to do. Next episode is gonna be about Zach, the godfather of the group, the man who knows
Oh
everything.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Zachary.
So you guys are gonna want to be here for that episode because he's the only one here who's worth $1 million.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, I bet he won't stutter on things either.
Oh
This
my
guy's
God.
very
Yeah, yeah.
calculated,
Yeah. Calculated, focused, and determined. Gotta
determined.
appreciate
Yep.
it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here, and I will let you go.
There you
Good.
go.
I will see you guys next 2 weeks.